Welcome back to another episode of A Path Unfolding. I'm your host, Jesse Brede, and I'm here today with my very exciting guest, Elephant Heart, Jason and Victoria. How are you guys? Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Excited to be here.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to have you guys. Just to like start off, hit the ground running. Gravitas is helping you to release your next album, Kingdom. And I wanted to have you guys sit down, kind of share your story, tell us how Elephant Heart started, like where the name come from, just to kind of introduce yourself a little bit more so I can get to know you more. And just kind of jump into it. And
Yeah. So Elephant Heart. Okay, so we got married in 2011, however long that is. I've been making music and producing forever. She'd always come around, like sing harmonies, and she was like my little muse for like just showing me cool things and cool music. But we never really
sometimes
ghostwrite.
Yeah.
She was my ghostwriter.
The dirt comes out.
No. Like in little ways, not like.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
I really wrote Girls Like You.
Yeah, we were just like, just jammed together. But then on our 5-year anniversary, we had just built this studio at the house. And we were just, jamming on the piano. And I was like, why don't we go in the studio and like make something?
I was making up a melody and you were like on the piano.
Yeah, I was like, why don't we go in the studio and like make something from scratch? We've never done that actually.
You're like, I want to see what's in your brain.
Yeah. So came in here, I gave her a drum machine and I started just like setting her up with synths. And I was just kind of chopping up what she was doing. I was like, whoa, her brain is crazy. And then, and then we like made the song. It was on our last album called Tonight's the Night. That was the first song we ever made together. And I mean, we posted a little thing on Instagram, just to friends, and people were like, whoa, what is this? What is this? And then we did
a lot of the people like.
Yeah, a lot of like people in the music industry were like, dude, what is this?
Like,
this is insane. This is insane.
Really sick.
And then like we made another song called Warfare, and we kept like and I remember like I would play them at parties and everybody was like, dude, this is really good. Like, what is this stuff? And then probably like a year or two it took
like really our good friends encouraging us like this has to be something. At first it was just a fun little thing to do on our anniversary, then it became this like healing expression for me, like therapeutically, to kind of come into who I'm supposed to be and shed some things. And so people are like, the world needs this is transcends like just what you guys are doing. I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. I never had the dream to be a singer or anything like that.
And also like the whole like the stigma of like doing music with your wife.
He was worried about that.
I've seen how that story goes, But then it was like it turned out to be like the most magical thing. And it was like just like supposed to be like a little side project thing that kind of, and then we got a record deal with BMG at the time and music videos, and we played our favorite festival.
Yeah, Light in a Bottle.
Which, that's how we met you.
Which we felt like, since we had gone so many times, we already felt like this is our place.
Yeah.
So I remember like with Jesse and everyone like, wow, you guys are making some requests like you guys own the place. Like no, can we bring 4 of our RVs and all of our friends and all get artists camping? Like, who do you think you guys are? I'm like, we're the fam, right? Yeah. It just felt so natural to play there.
You guys were like opening for the opening act. We're like, coming in hot. And it didn't help that we had Alex Beckett, who's our agent, who's like an OG LIB Headtron crew dude. He got us in there. But
well, let's give it a little more context on Alex too. Like, I mean, he's also Rufus the Souls and Tipper and G Jones's agent. So he's a heavy hitter. And then what you just said about Headtron is like, Headtron was a group that inspired me when I was starting Gravitas, like people like Crispy and Gold Rush. And I was like, they're doing something really cool. And I was always like, not jealous, but just like, that felt like the blueprint for what I wanted to create. And I always looked at Alex as he was kind of like the leader of that. So over the years, I watched his star rise. Yeah. And then when we got connected and he was like a champion for you guys, I was like, oh, okay. Now the stars have really aligned. Yeah. So shout out Alex Beckett and all the
dude,
work
and it's actually,
that he
oh yeah, Alex.
Oh dude, he's incredible. And it's funny with him. So we signed to CAA through someone else. And I think they kind of signed us at CA with this guy who's like the big dog over there. And I think it was a little bit like, this guy Jason, he's a big producer. Maybe we can get him on like The Voice. But like, sure, Elephant Heart. It was like, that's how it kind of felt. And then I was working with Rufus. I hadn't met Alex yet. I'm working with Rufus, and just kind of like, what do we do? Like, what do we do with Elephant Heart? And Danny, their manager, was like, you know, our guy Alex is at CAA too. You guys should meet. He should be aware of the project, you know? And then Alex was like, dude, then we became homies, and he like basically just took over the project, and he's been our literally champion, driving the ship forward for the past however many years, you know? So shout out to Alex.
Yeah, and
We
to
love you,
rewind
Alex.
too, like you mentioned lightning in a bottle, like I literally just got back from there, and I've had the pleasure and honor to stage manage you guys twice, which is where I really got to understand what Elephant Heart was, and the energy and the intentionality and the heart focused lyricism and everything that you're bringing to the stage and your songs. And you know, quite honestly, just before that, I had like picked you guys up when you did. I think you had released something with Westwood, and I think Defunk, or you had put out a
Funk
release,
Hunter,
and then
the remix.
yeah, the Funk Hunters and Defunk had done a remix for you guys, and I had picked that track, and I was like, "Whoa, this is dope!" And I obviously their remix slams, and it's like definitely something I would put in a DJ set. But I sort of understood like the group behind this is really interesting, and I think in the world where I'm coming from, having lyrics, having vocalists, having songwriting, it's sometimes kind of few and far between. And when I heard you guys' project, I was thinking it's like kind of like there's this element of pop, it's this element of electronic music, there's like real songwriting going on, and I kind of like a little bit of like even like a Major Lazer situation where it's just so much energy. Hey buddy, no, come on in, let him in.
You can
hi.
sit on my lap.
He can sit on our lap.
Yeah.
We're gonna come.
Who is this? This is Jasper, right?
This is
That's
Jasper.
Jasper. Want to come say hi?
You can say hi, but we are in the talking zone. But you could totally come say hi.
You can say hi. Say hi, everyone. So we're doing a thing called an interview right now. So like we're talking, he asks us questions.
That's why you can't hear.
Yeah, you can't hear us because we're in the headphones, but we're kind of just talking about Elephant Heart. Actually, he's been on stage
In my tummy.
and at the Do Lab Coachella.
Yeah.
He was rocking on stage, kicking balls around. Remember that Coachella? Yeah, it was pretty fun. So yeah.
And I mean, I think this is perfect, right? Because you guys have grown this family, and you've like had this, you know, I just want to hit on Jason's career. Like Jason, you've had this like prolific career writing for some of the top people in the music industry. And then you have this project Elephant Heart, which is not, you know, it's not necessarily in that lane as much. And it's like you guys, your full expression of who you are and your creativity. And like, Vic, when I look at your fashion and the creativity that you just expressed visually, and then also in the music, it makes perfect sense that LIB would be your home, and that you would be this like, you know, we're all oddballs there. We're all like, where do we fit in? We're not quite in the mainstream, but like what LIB has always been good at is being kind of a couple steps ahead and seeing like, this is where things are going. And so when I saw you guys, I was like, this is dope. I want to work with these kinds of guys. So I just kind of want to land that for you.
That's awesome. Yeah, LIB was always a place where, like I remember, you know, because the fact that I fell into the whole pop songwriting thing is just kind of crazy because I've never really been a pop guy.
He's in a rock.
I came from a rock band, and then I remember I discovered dubstep, and my life just was like, this is the new rock. This is my new Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, I remember there was like that crazy big bathtub thing going on at the old LIB. I remember I would just go to LIB to like just soak in all the new sounds, and then I would be inspired, and I would like take that into my other world, you know. And people would be like, "Oh, where do you find these sounds?" I was like, "LIB, bro." Yeah,
that's amazing. Well, I wanted to hit on, you know, you just mentioned you having this pop career, like some of the people that you've created music with and for, Maroon 5, Demi Lovato, like Nick Jonas, Zed, Rufus Du Sol. I mean, the list goes on. Sometimes when I look at your Wikipedia page, I'm just like, does this guy ever sleep? Like, I guess I just want to know, like, what is that even like? What does your day-to-day life look like, and how does all that work? Like, I'm kind of in awe of what that looks like.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
You did just shift to a really healthy routine.
Yeah, I've been a lot healthier in the sense of sleeping more, waking up earlier. Kids have definitely helped with that. But I mean, it's, you know, it's interesting. So like the way it works usually, and the business is always shifting. So when I first started this, it was like we just write songs and we pitch them to artists, and artists would just take the songs, you know. So it's sort of like, you know, I tell her all the time, like, dude, I literally go to work for free. I'm just like going fishing, and hopefully one day I'll catch a fish. Like I'm just making songs, like hundreds of songs a year, and then boom, this artist wants to grab one, and this artist, and then the tides changed a bit during COVID. I feel like, and which has been really cool. A lot more artists in like the pop world are actually writing their own music now. So I'm working a lot more with the artists on writing. Once in a while, the artists will still cut songs, but it's always, like Rufus the Soul, that was going to be like a one-off, just to go write a song with them. Like he's going with them, write a song, see if it works, and then we ended up doing like pretty much two albums together. So it's always different for every artist. Some artists, they just, the Maroon 5 stuff, they just take outside songs, boom, I go record them, I go finish them here.
Yeah, but the thing being the writer and the producer, he has to write the song all day. And then the writer's like, okay, the song's finished. They go home like 7 or something. And then he's like, well, now I have to finish the production. So like, it's always been a little bit of a struggle of like,
trying to finish stuff.
You're in the zone. So do you keep crushing it and do a 12-hour day? That's crazy. So he's, because then if you don't finish it, you might have a new writing session the next day and then you get backed up. And then you have like to have production days where you save production days where you clean up the loose ends of other songs. And
it's a lot of just
trying
to finish stuff up, But it's so fun. I mean, I couldn't even. It's crazy when I think of this as my job. It's amazing. And then it's like I go, and then I get like an elephant heart mode.
He's always, when he was even in a band. I mean, even his band music still like is so. What is it called? It holds weight still. Like I put it on, I love it. It's still, it's so good. I've always thought
that emo. If you're into a little bit of emo music,
like, but it's not.
Yeah. No, it's not what.
And he's always had good taste in music too.
Thanks.
I mean, I might have shown you a couple things, but
you showed me. You got me.
You guys are so cute. I love it. I love it. Well, I think that's a natural segue for like how you guys. So you've written. Now this is your second album. You've had a couple singles and releases, and had some major heads remix. I think you had like a Aoki remix, and other people signed with BMG. I mean, that's obviously a huge deal. So to bring it land, like I feel like with us working with Gravitas, I've been so excited to work with you guys because I feel like this is through all of that major label and everything else that you've been through, like now I feel like this album, I know it's been, the music's been around for a minute, but we're really finally getting to show that and share that with the world. So I'd love to hear more about how that album came together, maybe drop in on a couple of the songs and just learn a little bit more about how those came together. So just to recap, like the name of the album is Kingdom. One of the ones that we thought might be interesting is I'm Sorry. And just a silly little joke is the 3 hardest things, or I think it's the 4 hardest things to say in the English language is I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, and Worcestershire sauce.
No, wait, actual like language hard or emotionally hard?
Just
oh my God.
Worcestershire sauce. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Worcestershire sauce. Anyways. That's a hard one. Oh my gosh, you got me.
Terrible joke.
I got it.
You did get it.
You'll see sarcasm or like jokes with her sometimes.
Yeah, I'm too literal.
That's a joke. They are a very hard things emotionally to say. Is like, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and
and Worcestershire sauce.
It's very true.
I love that.
So let's talk about it. What about I'm Sorry why was that such a big one for you guys?
Was that in Nashville?
No, I was here. So the last album, just to back up, like the first album I feel like in like a really strong place in our relationship.
Well, yeah, the first album, strong place.
There was no kids. We had a great community going on. And then we like started making the second album and we're like about to have a kid. We made this album. This album's been a long time in the making. So this new one. But for the most part, it was like, it was tough to be like, hey, let's go in the studio and make music. We're not like really fully getting along right now. We're not like in the best place, but like, but we knew that it would be healing to come in here and work. Mm-hmm. So it was like
also I was post kid.
Oh yeah, you were recording. I mean, there's some
postpartum. Your body's just like not yours. And
Sour Patch Kids, you were literally milking. Well, you're not milking, but you were literally like breastfeeding while singing. Like I mean,
wow.
Yeah, she'd be laying on the ground, just pregnant for some of it. So she was pregnant for some of it. We had kids during it. So it was like, but it was just like
It's an honest, raw expression of everything is like has been honest and raw of where we're at, and like a couple of these songs are really about the struggle of like being in a low.
Yeah, even like our spiritual connection with God, and then our connection with each other, and just sort of like this fight of wanting to get it not even back to where it was, but to a better place, you know. And I feel like every time we make music, that's the cool part about it. Like,
it's been said that over your lifetime you'll be married to the same person, but you're really married to like 5 different people.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Like if you really stick it through the long haul, your partner goes through like major changes. You know, it could be life deaths. You're going to be losing your parents. You're going to be losing friends, pregnancy. I mean, for a woman, it is a rebirth. You are not the same person after. It's so you're changed in the best ways, but in hard ways, but I'd say mostly the best ways. But like, it's like he has to learn, like, I'm a totally different person and I'm trying to figure out who I am. So that's what that song is about. Like, I'm in a low and I'm not myself, because it's like, you have to relearn me. Even our midwife, I remember she's like, you know, her body's different. You're going to have to relearn her body. Like, she might not like things that she liked before. Like, you have to respect and like get to know her again, while I'm trying to figure out getting to know myself again. But it's always worth it when we stick it out. And that's what's crazy, is because we've gone through these lows and been like, I don't want to be with you. I can feel, if you feel that, even though I think when we started, we've always been like, no, it's never going to be an out. And I think is a good way to go into something, because if you give yourself a way out, it gets kind of easier.
Yeah.
But so we've always gone to like, no, we're not going to give up on it. But I can tell you, I have felt like
2 days ago.
Yeah.
I was about to just run out, move to the Four Seasons for 4 days.
Oh yeah. You were mad at me.
But I come back in and I say, I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? I'm sorry.
But if you stick it through,
yeah,
with all the years and years of knowing, deep knowing each other, it's better. The deepness and the love is better.
Yeah, definitely gets stronger and grows.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
There's a really interesting like access to intimacy that you guys are finding, like by like writing songs together. You're able to like express something that you want to say to them through your craft and through your work, and you're being in this creative space. I think that's fascinating. I don't think a lot of couples like have that form of therapy or a way of like, hey, let's try to like work stuff out through this song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm processing how cool that is. And, you know, Vic, what you just said about motherhood, and like, I really identify with those chapters of our lives. Like when I lost my mother, my wife was there for me, and it was I mean, there's just no way that you can be the same person after such a big event in your life. And like your partner either grows with you and does that with you, or you grow apart during that time. And it can be really challenging. And you may not even have the wherewithal to like understand that you're in that moment. So I think the other thing that's really of note is like, and it should go without saying, but you guys are writing from the heart, right? You're writing from your lived experience. And of course, when you do that, like people are going to start to resonate and really see their lives inside of that. And I think that's, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, Jason, as this, accomplished songwriter. And of course you too, Vic, is like, has that always been the case? Have you always like, was that something that you discovered like right away when you were songwriting, or is that something that you've really honed and learned of like, hey, I gotta go deep into myself in order to write something that other people can connect with?
Yeah. I mean, when I was just writing from for my band and all that stuff, that was like super deep, just the deepest of pain I was going through. I never really thought of like my goals in music when I was a kid were like, all right, I want to make music that people could, like it was big. I wanted people to mosh to my music. First of all, that was a big part of it. I really wanted mosh pits, but I really wanted like people, like I just wanted to like people to be able to feel their pain in my music. That was like I wanted people to like, I wanted to like, I remember it was great. I remember seeing a crowd sing back to me back in the day with that music, because I felt like I was in so much pain. It was so nice to know that like we were in this pain together, And then I feel like that was a really good tool for me to use it back then, and I've sort of channeled that now into like, all right, been through all this stuff and darkness and come out, and I'm still going through darkness. Like, how do we like instead of like about the pain, let's like try to come together in this like love thing more, and that's what's been cool about Elephant Art. But the other stuff, other music, it's always changing. But if I'm working with an artist, I kind of tap into their world, and I can pull from old experiences, or I can but yeah, it's always coming from a real place. There's definitely some dumb songs.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
couple of dumb songs there.
oh yeah, no, but at the same time, like you're still pulling from like, you know, maybe some weird night you had or this, like whatever it is, you're trying to think of, you know what I mean? And then there's also like, cool, what rhymes with car? You know, what rhymes with, what's a cool visual? Like, you know what I mean? So like, there's that part of it too. But I'd say the stuff that I love and that resonates and that's like, for the most part, resonating with people is like stuff that's like real, you know?
Yeah. I think speaking for you, I think you would say it was refreshing to get, because you'd had the nice run with doing the pops, doing this writing for others, which was so,
Yeah.
stepped into it like, okay, I'm like, this is a career and this is fun to get to change and have different, write a country song one day, write a rap song one day. Like,
Yeah.
but I do think because you've always written from the heart, being a singer, it was fun, or maybe fun's not the right word.
No, it was refreshing.
To be able to like create from this space. And I think
And it helped
me.
It helped my other, like doing Elephant Heart, and because I forgot, like watching her like make music, she doesn't know any rules. There's like rules to songwriting, you know, and there's a lot of like, oh, you can't, you know, and I remember falling into a pattern of that, which I never did before. And I remember, you know,
yeah, why can't it go there?
Like, why can't it go there? I was like,
I just take it.
Yeah,
turn.
why can't it actually? There's no rules to that, and it kind of helped me like relearn how to just write without any barriers, you know. And I think, you know, like what
I was say, but also I do think lyrically, it has been a very big healing journey for me.
Yeah.
I mean, heavy on the what it's about and what it's
for sure,
like the subject matter, and
yeah, big time. I mean, I feel like all the songs have been total healing for you. Like I see, like even when we practice, I feel like you're like getting healed from your own words every time. You know? It's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. These are like little notes that you left for yourself. Reminder to, yeah. I was just looking at some of the titles. Like one of them you have is "Hearts Wide Open," and I mean, obviously, I think one of the things that I saw immediately is like you are using, you know, the language of our community, and then very heart open, very heart focused intentionality, and you know, as I was kind of really learning about you guys, I went into your music videos and I was just like absolutely blown away by what you guys have been able to create there and the worlds that you were creating inside of those music videos. So if you're listening to this, I encourage you guys to just open up YouTube and put Elephant Heart in there and go dive into this insane back catalog they have of like where all did you guys go? Like there's these elements, these world music elements that you're weaving into it, and it ties back to, you know, we'll get into the nonprofit and some of the work that you've done there, but it's just been such a cool world that you're bringing. I think like Vic, like with your fashion design and the colors, like that was the one thing to me is just the colors that you have in all of the music videos they're just so eye catching, which just brings me up. So yeah, I'd love to learn more about how all those came together and just some of the concepts behind them.
Well, for one, I mean, I grew up watching Bollywood TV all the time, and like having a lot of my friends were Arabic, Persian, Egyptian. So I was always really influenced by Middle Eastern sounds. I remember showing Jason that type of these music, like these playlists I would have. Actually, they were CDs at first. Like my friends would make me the CDs. So that's a big reason that is and he loved them. Like he was right away, just like, oh my gosh, how have I not listened to this before? So that to sprinkle that in, because I just feel like it's some of my favorite music to listen to, but also all different words. I don't know. Remember those Pumatayo albums? They would sell them at like Whole Foods,
like the Buddha bar things, like
they're like, but
yeah.
I think it was called Pumatayo. They have like the French one, this one, the Brazilian one. Anyways, I had all those things, but
you're definitely
and I was always obsessed with the clothing from other cultures too, because like the hand artistry and the time, the colors, you know, like traveling through Thailand and Peru and Cambodia. And I mean, that's
so a lot of the like the outfits in the Linguas video. So she made all the outfits in all the videos. So if you go watch those
Linguas, but I had the seamstress.
Yeah, you had
that. And Ken was helping style it too. It was definitely collaborations. But now I have learned to use my sewing machine and a serger, and I have like 4 sewing machines going, and I have finally, I might potentially be if I can get these pants to fit. Anyway, I'm saying I've always been like, I've been that person. I'm like, I can hand sew. I have all these ideas, but I've never like crafted a skill of fine artistry of that. So it's like collabing and like, okay, I have the vision. I want to use this old wedding dress, and can you cut it out and like make these into pants? And like, so definitely creative vision, but like working with amazing artists that are helping
Yeah,
bring
the
something to
linguist
life.
video is super dope, and then the digital one, like the makeup and just the colors.
Well, I was a hair and makeup artist.
Yeah, she did all. She's
My-
a makeup artist.
Yeah,
Give
and then
me a
Love in the Weapon, Love is the Weapon. That was filmed in India.
Yes, we went to a
Or-
friend's wedding in India. We were in the wedding, and then it was in Jaipur, the blue city. And we were happening to visit our kids, and well, we made it a reason to stop and see our little kids in the Philippines that we've had a nonprofit with for the past 9 years. So we were going to see them, and we were going to be in this amazing, colorful place. And so we brought our friends along to help out with the nonprofit. So they met us after the wedding in this area of India, and we just kind of roamed the streets and just caught some organic moments and stayed at this really beautiful, that little
Airbnb hotel thing.
Did you have somebody with you shooting that, or did you guys shoot it?
Yeah, our friend Pat. Bridge.
Yeah, so his companies produced all the videos we did.
Almost, not all of them. All of them,
except for Freak. But yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure everyone's getting their. I'm so big on everyone getting their credits. I like.
A married couple interviewing, just always cross-checking.
You don't want someone to be like.
But yeah, I mean, so it also, you were asking about the sounds. So we took a trip to India another time, and we got all these amazing players, and we just like made sample banks. So we've used a lot of that on the albums, and we need to re-up our sample pack.
Yeah.
And then I gave a lot of them away on Splice too.
Well, also what happened was COVID happened and having babies. So we stopped. We used to travel backpack every year for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But we, you name, like, we've been so many places, and we'd always bring these little recorders and record. So this is the first time we just went back to the Philippines. We brought our kids, but like, we're learning how to do all that again with kids and.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we chose to visit our kids in the Philippines because we hadn't gone there in 4.5, 5 years. So
well, yeah, let's explain that. So the nonprofit is called Picture This, and it started like 6 years ago is what I'm getting.
Now it's like 9. It was after 2013. Wow. It was right after this big typhoon hit the Philippines, Typhoon Yolanda, and we were gonna be visiting there for a vacation. We were doing some like philanthropy stuff in Cambodia before, but I think it kind of prepped our hearts, because then the Philippines is supposed to be a vacation moment, but this typhoon hit 2 months before we came, and we're like, well, we can't just like go there and not do something. And so we got hooked up with this amazing guy who's like first on scene at all the natural disasters there, Benjo, and he hooked us up with going to this little community to love on. It was literally supposed to be just like a one-off, one day, just to kind of go serve and love them. And then we what?
Brought some toys. Right?
I mean, yeah, they like we were giving out stuffed animals and like hair clips and just like hanging with them all day. We ended up staying and got invited back.
But then so they had this little party that night. I remember because I only came for the party because I had hurt my back in Cambodia, like really bad. So, so I show up, and it's like this, really rural village. Like it's like Lord of the Flies, like just run by kids. Everywhere you go, it's just kids. And we're saying bye on the dock, and some of the kids are crying, and Vic's hugging all of them, and Vic says, "Look up in the star. Do you see that star right there?" It's like, we see the same star back home. And just so you know, so every time that you look up at that, like I can see the same star. We're connected. And then she goes.
But I told them to pray and pray that we'd come back.
Yeah. Well, you probably said that too, but you also said, "I'll see you next year." Maybe you said.
I mean,
she gave a big claim, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like,
I need this.
You just made a huge promise. We're coming back next year, And then I remember we came home and we just got fired up.
This one little girl spoke to me so much. I wanted to mentor her, and I was like, I loved all of them, but this one little girl in particular,
Annabelle,
reminded me of my niece back home, and I was like. I came home. I was like, how do I not single her out? How do I love on all these kids? And I was like, pen pal program. Oh my gosh, I had a pen pal growing up. It was really inspiring. And that's how it started for years and years as just a pen pal program, just connecting hearts, letting kids here learn about kids there, and all there's like so many facets of what it does for the American side and the Filipino side.
At one point, there was like a few hundred kids in the pen pal,
At
right?
first, I was an idiot, and I took on the entire elementary school of like 250 kids one side. And
Yeah, so you have kids in America and then kids there, and it's like the mail. It was crazy.
It was
Holy
crazy.
cow.
A lot of learning along the way. But now we sponsor 75 kids to be financially for school, and we bought a boat to like get kids to high school, and
yeah, we kind of just like
built a house during COVID out of eco bricks.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And now the girl that made me start the whole thing lives there, and she has her daughter and her husband, and they live there, and she works.
They live in the house that
helps me run it.
They live in the house that we built, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Check, just making sure they heard that part.
Yeah. Wow. And so, okay. So just to let everybody know, 10% of what, the proceeds from this album will go to Picture This and to support these kids. And that's a huge deal. Again, Jason, when you and I connected on the phone that day, it was like, I just got goosebumps. I got so inspired, and I was like, these are absolutely beautiful people doing beautiful things with beautiful music. And I just couldn't be more excited to be on an adventure with you guys, share the music.
We feel the same.
Yeah.
Feels really good.
And we've been talking for like a couple of years, because I remember we talked, I don't know, I remember LIB, we were kind of chatted it, then it kind of went away, and then we got back into it. I've always felt a really good vibe from me,
Thank you. Yeah, the first year, and I think you guys released some stuff with Odyssey, Closy's label, and obviously I've been heavily involved with that. And I mean, that's awesome too, that she's identified you guys as somebody that she wants to support as well, because she obviously has a huge platform. And
I remember it was during COVID. I forgot who told, maybe she just wrote us or something like that. I remember I found out that she was like, her and her partner were listening to Africa. I guess they loved Africa, the song, and then they loved the album. I think she might have told LS Stream, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, because that was good story.
Yeah.
Because you did.
It's great.
Because you're like, I don't know.
I don't know. I just remember finding out that Closey liked our music, and I was like, this is amazing, because she was a huge inspiration for us. So that was great.
That's awesome. You guys got to open up for LS Dream at Red Rocks, right?
Oh, yeah, a couple. We did like 5 shows.
Yeah, we did like a small leg of the run, small leg of the tour.
That was special.
Yeah,
I watched the video of that. You have the whole you can go on YouTube and watch the whole show. It's epic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and then I got to go out with him and do our song.
Oh yeah, Operate.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that song.
So you have a song with Sammy with LS Dream called Operate.
We have two songs. We have Love Rocket and Operate. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, and then obviously Sammy, LS Dream, and Closey have made LSZ. So there's all sorts of good things happening there. Yeah, man. Worlds collide. That's epic. Yeah, I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I know, it's crazy. And we've known Sammy forever, so it's awesome to see. I remember
before the LS Dream project, like when he was
way before.
Well, because I write. Well, actually, okay, we go way back. So his wife Sarah, and then we're in a group. They had a group called Ultraviolet Sound.
We used to love going to.
And we used to love their music back in like 2005 or something like that. My band would play with them. I remember they were like the cool hipster sort of like, indie sleaze electro pop thing. And then flash forward years later in the songwriting world, she wrote, Sarah, his wife wrote Dark Horse, Katy Perry, like all these big Katy Perry songs. And then her and I started working. Yeah. Then her and I became writing partners and like became best friends pretty much.
Went to their
wedding. I remember Sammy was sitting there and like, it was the first time I met Sammy. Well, since back in the day, and he was all like vibed out and like, and he's like, I got this. He's like, I'm done with Brills, dude. I got this idea of like doing this sort of like spiritual bass kind of. I remember sitting there, I was like, cool. And dude, it was crazy watching him, because he would come over here in the studio and like he would just talk about this idea he had, and he was like, check out these videos I'm making, and he was just like
so passionate,
and just like he never lost the plot and just went and just destroys now. He's like just took over. It's just so cool. See like a vision come from just an idea of something, and like the healing process and all. He had all that, like the healing thing and the sound thing. There's all the stuff he does. That was all a part of like his initial vision. It's really cool. Vision's
Yeah.
important,
Sounds like
man.
he got a big download at some point. Was like, this is what
Yeah.
I'm doing. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's
Vision is
awesome.
really important. Those
You
without
had
vision will
mentioned,
perish.
yeah, you had mentioned like kind of your spirituality and prayer, and I think I had caught like an Instagram post the other day, and you were kind of talking about God. I don't see a lot of artists in our space like really saying that word. I think there's a lot of people that kind of shy away from it because I think a lot of us have some PTSD from like growing up, but I'm in my own
Yeah.
personal
I
journey
did.
with learning like, what is my God? How do I talk to my God, and what does God mean to me? And like, I just love to hear from you guys about like what that spiritual journey has looked like for you, and obviously the intentionality of sort of speaking to that, and just, you know, I think it's one, I don't want to say it's
Yeah.
brave, but I think it's cool. I think it's great that you're
Yeah. I
saying
mean,
that
it's
so that we can kind
life
of bring it
source.
back into the space, and like we can
Yeah.
take ownership of that word and what it means for us.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like,
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
it kind of started.
well, I'm saying that, like, I think religion has really watered down how powerful God is, you know, and I think that, you know, like, for us, like, we would say we're followers of Jesus. That's who we follow. But the Jesus that we follow, it's very different than what, in my opinion, what the modern day Christian church looks like.
That's changing too.
And I think it is changing. I think that is changing.
I think that church is waking up to, because I grew up in the church and definitely felt very scarred and ostracized. And, you know, my mom said it great one day. She was like, I took all your artistic expression for rebellion. And like, it was just kind of my life growing up. Like, I'm the weird artistic girl. And like, God is the craziest artist of all time.
Yeah.
God like made this earth, you know, like every color, every fish. You're just like, wait a minute, how did so many people that like subscribe to like or follow God like become this like stale group of people that feel like are afraid of. So, anyways, I walked away for many years, and then
I was an atheist for my whole life.
Jason would have said he was an atheist Buddhist when we met.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, that's what you said.
I'm an atheist Buddhist.
If anything,
I don't know what
Buddhist.
both of those mean, but that's what I am.
Yeah. But meeting Jason, like, kind of, I realized I wanted to marry him. I remember, like, it kind of sparked up like some beautiful foundational things that were instilled in me, like they say wholesome values that I was like, I want to marry this man. But I was not at a healthy place, so it kind of took us on a wild journey. And we dated for 2.5 years, and we broke up for a year during that. It just got dark and insane. And I got to my lowest low after we broke up. And it was in that year that someone like was like, you know, Vic, I think you should check out this church. Like, I think you're like the pastor's tattoos. I'm like, okay, I'll go. And I went and had, like, I call it my prodigal daughter moment of like, felt the love of God like rushing over me so intensely, so celebrating that I had come back, but also like learning, like re-seeing God, like that he's not this man, angry man in the clouds. Like, it was this whole relearning thing I had to do with God. But it was, like, encountering Jesus. And then Jason kind of saw some changes in me. I became best friends with his sister when we broke up, actually.
Yeah.
And like so we kind of stayed in touch.
We stay in touch all the time. You were calling me all the time about your boyfriends breaking up with you, and
boyfriends.
I was on the road. And I was like
toxically wild.
I was just like, I was there for her, you know. I'm like, she's
never thought
we'd
get back together, and then somehow I was like at your house for Thanksgiving or something, and then
a little spark,
and then he was just like,
but you used the same line to me. You're like, you should come. And I remember I was always very very against the church stuff. I write songs about it. I was like, but I was like on tour. I was playing in arenas and opening for the big rock bands I look up to, and I was doing all the things a rock star does, you know. And we got back together, and I was just like, kind of was like, okay, I don't really feel fully fulfilled. Like, I don't.
I've done it all.
I thought I would. I've done it all. I've checked it all off. I've done, you know. And then she was like, I think you used the same line on me. You're like, hey, come check out the church. The guy has tattoos. I don't know.
Tattoo cell.
That's your line, yeah. And I was like,
no, but he's a great.
But it was for the first time. I was like, I had like a warm drawing in feeling. I was like, all right, I'll come check it out. Sure, let's see what this is all about, you know. And we go there, and he was going through this story called Ecclesiastes is the story. And it's basically about a rich young ruler who tries everything under the sun, and everything leaves him feeling empty. And he realizes, and I'm like,
wealth, knowledge,
yeah, I'm
even
like,
knowledge, you know, like the pursuit of these things, and it's just like, if that's it,
yeah,
is empty, you know.
so definitely.
Passion.
So I was like, is this like a setup? This is literally how I feel inside, actually. And then fast forward like 5 weeks of going, I had this insane vision. Like this is where it gets crazy. I like saw myself sitting there.
Go for it.
And this is totally a sober mind, just to remind everyone there. I'm sitting there, like he's like, let's pray. Everyone's praying. I see my body sitting down there. I see the whole room, and I look up, and on top of the ceiling, it's like this clear blanket filling up the top of the room, and there's like he's kind of like smile. I know it's smiling. I feel a smiling presence, and he starts showing me visions of all the beautiful, colorful fish in the sea and these mountains and like sounds of music. And he's like, "This is who I am. Like this is actually who I am, not who you thought I was your whole life, you know." And I couldn't stop crying. I like broke down, and then that's when like the journey began, because now I'm like, cool, I'm a Christian now, you know, this is what I am, you know. But then I realized I'd go into sessions with people, and I'd be like, people like, oh man, you're so like happy and blah blah. I'm like, because my life literally like it shifted big time. Like it was like I can't even explain how. Like they say, but they'll say like, you know, they say like you get a new heart, and that's literally like I couldn't watch the same movies I watched the day before. It was wild. It was hard to adjust back into society, to be honest. But then I'd be talking to people, and then I'd be like, you know, I'd be like, oh, I'm a Christian, and then they'd be like, oh, okay, and I'd be like, what, you know, and then fast forward a few months, I meet this guy who became a mentor of mine, and I was like, man, it's so frustrating, you know, every time I tell somebody I'm a Christian, they run away from me. And I was like, he was like, why do you call yourself a Christian? And I was like, I don't know. I had no idea. I'm like, because that's what you're supposed to call yourself, Christ. You know, he's like, was his last name, was Jesus' last name Christ? Or, you know, so he starts questioning. He goes, if you could find anywhere it says to call yourself that, you know, I'll give you $100 in scripture. So I'm like, I'm going to find this and prove this guy wrong. Can't find it anywhere. And then he goes, just like, you know, if people ask, just say you're a follower of Jesus and see what happens. And it was crazy how the you know, I would say that, and people would be like, oh, that's cool. Like, what is that? You know, like Jesus is cool. Like in almost all cultures.
Jesus really came to break religion.
Yeah, he came to break religion, right?
That's what's crazy.
Yeah, he didn't come to start a religion.
Christians. He's a Jewish rabbi that like came to bring in everybody. Yeah. Like, hey guys, we all need to get back to our center. Everyone needs this relationship with God. It doesn't matter if you're in a temple. It doesn't matter. You don't need a building. Yeah. I can come live in you.
You don't need to sing these weird Christian songs. You don't got to do all this stuff. So that was freeing for me. And then it was like, and then I saw the fruit of my life change, you know, and I'm obviously still struggle, and it's not easy. And there's addictions and all sorts of stuff.
And then we floated for a long time because that pastor left. And then we had like a home.
Yeah, then we left.
Home group.
Yeah, we had a sick group, and that just turned into like parties. I feel like it was awesome.
Yeah,
but
wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely like I got a feeling that there's gonna be all different types of people in heaven, and it's not just gonna be the Christians that are like in those big, you know, churches in Dallas where I don't know. I'm just.
But also, I do want to say, realizing that we're all made so differently.
Yeah.
Too. So like someone that wants.
Yeah. Everyone has their own.
Worship in a special way or have a certain, like someone likes to get dressed up. That's great. But it's when you start making things rules.
Yeah.
You know, like that's where I realized like God's not like that at all. Like.
Yeah. I think, you know, inclusivity and inviting people in, and, you know, some of the things that I've struggled with is sort of like people that might be gay and like a lot of that when I grew up, there was like a lot of like from the church saying like you shouldn't be that way. But I think like in my journey, like really understanding like what does my God or my higher power mean to me, and like how can I have a relationship with that, and what does that look like? I think that's such an important thing to bring into the conversation, into the space.
Yeah.
The whole point of relationship with God is we're supposed to be this. We're not supposed to be. It says take the plank out of your own eye before you. Like we're supposed to be focusing on ourselves and because we all need to just be shedding, and like what everyone does with themselves, like that's kind of up to them.
That's up to
God, you know.
They'll figure it out.
But
Yeah,
it's
and I guess I'll just say this whole conversation is in no way meant to be like judgmental of anyone. I think you guys have already said that. It's just I think it's important for us to take our own journey and like I took a long time to get to that place, and I was very like resentful against organized religion, and I confused that with my own spirituality and my own relationship with God, and I was like couldn't get past that stuff from my early years, and whenever I just let that go, it was like wow. And I've had some similar experiences to you, Jason. I was like, wow, like if I just let go and like allow it to happen, like it's just this unending love of the universe can flow through you. And with that power, with that like leaning back and trusting in God and life and the universe, like there's just so much freedom and so much beauty that it can flow through us. And like we can just give that right back to the world instead of being like the scarcity mindset and fear mindset that kind of controls a lot of people. Like there's not enough. I got to get mine. And like, I gotta hold on tight. And like when we act out of those feelings, there's such, it's damaging to ourselves, it's damaging to others. And so like when we feel like that, the unending love of the universe flow through us, like we can just share it with everyone, invite everybody in and have this beautiful party. I love the imagery of like the fish in the mountains and like
God is the ultimate greatest artist of all time, and we're all just taking parts of his
Oh yeah, we're just imitating.
imitating. But I mean, like, you know,
We're
we
inspired,
take these neon colors of the fish and like, oh, this texture of the tree bark. I mean, like the first artist.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
OG artist.
But I also know like the joy I've experienced and the connection with like the joy that God gets from all of us creating too.
Yeah.
Like we are made to, that's what makes us different than all the animals, for example. I mean, the animals are all so and special and important too, but we are the only being that like a tiger doesn't be like, I'm going to wear this shirt today because this represents how I feel. Like, I'm going to put blonde in my hair. Like, they have a different type of connection with the earth and everything in it. But like, we get to like represent ourselves. We get to express ourselves. We get to paint the world and paint things. And
yeah,
so it's kind of special. We get to, I mean, we're creating God's image. I think it's like, that's why we're a little co-artists.
We're creative. We're co-creating all the time, you know? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you know, making music, it's like, there's times when you just feel like you're in here kind of chugging away and you're like, all right, I feel like it's very me. It's like fleshy, like, but then there's just times where it's like, boom, portal opens up and it's like, you could do a whole day on a song. You're like, what? Where were we? Like, what was that? Like, where did that come from? That was not me, dude. Like, you know, I can't, I feel almost weird taking credit for it because it was like so not, it was just flowing. We were just like these little instruments, you know what I mean? And like, those are I think the high that I'm always chasing after, you know, if I'm honest, that's really what I'm always showing up so I can maybe like, all right, come on in, you know, let's like, you know.
I like the saying of like, we are the universe kind of experiencing itself. Like we're like refractaled out and we're like kind of the universe just in this momentary flesh body, but we're just kind of sharing it out and like drinking it in and it's like experiencing itself back.
Love that.
Also what you said about being in flow. Like I think anybody who's been in that creative state where we felt like, whoa, like this is not me.
Yeah.
Like that's being so clear and you're not holding on to the past and you're not worried about the future. You're just present in the moment to what is now and like letting it flow through you is this beautiful expression of life. And so like whatever comes out in that place, like kind of like I would assume you would say like our job is to like get out of the way. Like just get out of the way and let it come and just like let it go as fast as we can. And then after that, right, it's kind of like you're the steward of that to like clean it up, fix it up, package it and get it kind of in a container so that you can then share it with the
That's like the work part of it almost. It's like, all right, time to go to work now. I got this gift. Let me make sure the gift gets out there, you know?
I think also to not strive too. Like there's all part of because we're not supposed to just go to burnout either. Yeah. So like I've really been in a season of recharging too. Like I mean, I literally before today was my body, I've been dealing with health stuff. I was like laid in the grass and the sun on my body. And then I had to like have my shoes off and I'm like gardening. And it's like, that's okay too. Like you don't actually, I mean, I am creating a garden and pulling out weeds and stuff, but I mean like, you know, it doesn't always have to be like super productive. I made this thing that even if it's just for you, even, you know, like just to kind of, and then sometimes you make something that's, like this dream's vision. And then he, you know, Sammy's vision. He's made this crazy empire of something, but like it's
Yeah, it's
we have to have seasons also of just like rest. What's like it's rest, like recharge, rest, something. I don't know.
the
You get
triple
what I'm
Yeah.
R.
saying.
I call it the
Well,
rest,
actually, I
recharge,
think
and
about
reciprocate.
there you go. I think I've
Rest, rinse,
watched
repeat.
Chloe like do that pretty well. Like she's been smart about not overcommitting. Like she's like really dedicated to like taking breaks. And you got to have, right? If you
Yeah,
don't, what are you going to write about? Like there's always that second
totally.
album for artists. They've been on tour. If they have a hit album, their first album, then all they go do is tour. And then it's like, well, what are you going to write about? We were just been on the road for 2 years, like hotel
Yeah.
rooms and booze and women. And it's like, no, nobody wants to hear about it. They don't understand that. So like, you have to have that time back with your family and your people and your food and like reflect and then you have something to give
Yeah.
back. So I think that's really important to say those seasons are super crucial.
Very important.
Yeah.
I was just thinking earlier when we were talking about there's also like a big part of what I always hated. Like I always felt like there was all these rules and like God has all these rules, and then I realized that like they're not rules to like keep you from having fun. It's actually all things like you don't want to feel guilt, you don't want to feel shame, you don't want to hurt your neighbor, you don't want to hurt these kind of things, and you realize it's all things. I kind of look at all of us, the whole world, the universe, as like this painting of God's, right? And it's sort of like when you're not in harmony, you're kind of actually messing up the painting a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like we're or it's like a song. That's a better way to put it. It's like if we're out of harmony, we're literally like we're distorting the way that the world is supposed to be. So if we're have that fear thing and this and that, like things are feeling off balance and and that's kind of why the world is the way it is, to be honest, But man, like if we could all just stay in that like alignment, like the oneness.
Yeah.
Like, dude, imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. I mean,
Treating
you can
everyone
feel
like a
it, right?
brother and a sister.
Yeah, you feel it at LIB or one of those festivals. You feel it, like you really feel the oneness, and it's crazy. Like my dad said, but I think I said this on stage. If you remember me, I said this on stage at LIB. I took my dad to LIB. He was like, he stopped. He stopped at one point. He goes, Jace, before someone comes into this country, it should be a prerequisite that they come to this festival. Everyone should come to this festival to like, he was just losing his mind. I was like,
I love that.
Yeah, it hit him hard. Yeah.
Government.
He's like, every president should come here too. He's like, every president should come here. I was like, dude, you get it.
Yes.
This is how we should treat people, man. This is how we should treat people. It was awesome. It was cool.
Man, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's in our language. We talk about like the high vibe, like high frequency. And I think in my life, when I reflect back on when I was out of harmony, when I was acting out of, fear or addiction or something like that, I can feel that lower energy. And then when you start to clear away that stuff, you can kind of you feel light, you feel free. And so I think that's where things like yoga and meditation, we're learning to listen and tap into ourselves and really kind of tune our own physical instruments so that we can be in alignment with our higher power, with what the world, the universe is
That's
trying
a great way to
push us towards. Like this is where you should go. It's like it's this weird thing because we have agency, we have free will, so you can choose to go murder your neighbor, or you can choose to go have children and be a good parent and be a beautiful like family. And like what, how do you cultivate that the next right choice? How do you start to tune in and be like, okay, this is what's right for me, this is what's right for the world? Yeah, that's great.
It's a great way of putting it, but like the yoga and stuff, the meditation, like making sure, because I make sure all my instruments here are like, if something's wrong, I got to fix it up because it's got to be perfect, perfectly, not perfect, but it's got to be working so that I can come and play it. So if we look at ourselves as those instruments, we got to make sure they're tuned up. That's really cool.
I like that.
I like that a lot.
Nice. Good. Landed that one. You were talking about how Victoria, you're a hair and makeup artist, and for the music video, the digital, like you said there was an inspiration for that. What was that?
Yeah, I was like trying to get into like a character and I kind of was mimicking Bratz dolls because I literally was like, one, who wants to get this for their young daughter? Who wants what kind of role model of a toy
A brat doll.
a brat doll? All this makeup and all this stuff. So I was like, how do I get my eyes to like be big? And I did all these test runs and like used different contacts and finally came up with kind of a
Yeah, and if you listen to the lyrics, it's very like, who
like,
taught me to act like this,
yeah, like
talks like a
talking
like
about the
I heard it on the radio, right? It's all like the propaganda.
Not the maybe like the not great influences that are shaping the generations. And like I really didn't want to like point out a person, like I'm not like that person. Like I was like, oh, how do I wasn't like trying to
you're not singling out like a certain
out
person
people or whatever, but it was like Brad Stahl. That's kind of a good example of like just a interesting character choice for your
whoever you guys were who made that doll.
How does that tie back to the name of the album or the song, which is The Digital? Is that like we're
it's a digital world? Those are, I mean, the commercials that would sell you the brat doll or just make you a consumer. I mean, it's a kind of.
Well, the lyric, who do you think taught me to have this, talk like a brat like this, swing my gun like this. So he's basically, I heard it on the radio, internet, and the video. All the things are just like brainwashing us.
Yeah, or just like programmed to like consume, be this, dress like this, look like this, Yeah,
in the video, you see the parents, we put like contacts and then like the parents are just like sitting on the couch and she's like the little brat doll dancing. I don't know who the owl in the back. I don't know who I am as the owl in the background. I'm the wisdom. The owl is the wisdom in the background, saying they're like watching over the family. Like, come on, what are you doing?
They were just like the zoned out the parents that were not in it, not
present.
Wow, yeah,
all the videos always had
that's so cool. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that just shows like right. So you guys are multifaceted, multidisciplined, right? Your social commentary, really bringing it all back into it. Like that's for a couple to kind of bring that all to be. Obviously, you have help and friends to shoot the music videos and some help with like different partners for songwriting. But I think that's so cool that you guys have done that as a couple. Like I'd love to see hear a little bit more about like what that's like to work with your partner in the studio. Like obviously there's good days and bad days, but like I don't know, just give me a little more insight into that, because like my wife and I cook dinner together. It's like we're not writing music, so
yeah. Well, what is it like for you? Because I can.
Well, I will say Jason has definitely helped me. One thing I noticed, so I feel like it's always been pretty good. Like, some people are like, how are you work together? It's like, no, it's always been pretty epic and inspiring. We've always liked to spur each other on. But I have noticed one thing that's helped me with that you've kind of brought up is because Jason's such a kind, even killed, like he has no ego. So I think that's why he's become such a good producer for like all these other artists, because he has no ego to like put himself into like, so he really was like, what do you have in you, Vic? Like he helps me like find and dig to find how to express myself, and lets me express myself without ever saying, making me feel uncomfortable. I'm saying one thing that was kind of a learning thing for me. I'm very harsh with my words and more like I could be. This is obviously something that's been part of my de-shedding in life, that like, oh wow, like the enemy wanted to use my strength in like a bad way, but like, oh no, it's a great gift if you like know how to use it with love and kind of. So sometimes, even just learning how to like not just shut down an idea, because it's like, that's like I could be more harsh, like that's weird, or
oh yeah, she said like in the studio, some like,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I'll be working on something, she's like, no, I don't like that, or something. And like it's a very fragile.
Realizing that's like
it's a very fragile creative space when so there's a way to do it. We're like, all right, let's try something else. I don't know, like that's cool. There's ways to say it, like, okay, that's cool, let's try something else. But if you're like, I hate that, it's like, okay, let me go back to you. But I don't know that doesn't.
I have a strong opinion.
I mean, I think and if we're getting like super, I feel like because like you don't come in here every day and just sing and like work, so it's very new for you. So I feel like I remember when we worked with Memba, or different artists, I could tell you're like kind of nervous and like it's
because I'm with him, I'm so comfortable, so I could just like get on the mic and like let all these things come out. But like I don't do that every day ever. Actually, I don't ever do it. I never done it with other people, and never had the dream to do it. So like to be in this vulnerable place, like, all right, just like start throwing out melodies in front of people. But luckily we've always worked with people that also like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, I think it's always been. We have these two other. We've done a lot of songs with. They're called Yacht Money. It's our friends Sully and Lauren, another married couple. So we did Love Is a Weapon, Digital. We've done almost half this new album. Love Is a Weapon. I didn't even write that.
Yeah, so that was like the first one I ever did with other people, and thank God, like Sully and Lauren are just like, they loosen up, girl, because and like I remember Sully just one time, like when I'm confident like writing the lyrics and everything, but like when it came to like coming to sing on the mic, he was like, "Who is this? Yeah, stand up. Do you need a shot? What do you got?" He's just like, you gotta like.
He's like, "Where are you? Come on, little Vicky. Come on, Vicky."
Girl, I know, because he knows it's there, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so weird to like actually. And he just was so great at helping me, like, oh no, like loosen up and like find that the voices that come out, because there's so many different like characters and things. But
and I think it's,
I don't know. Like, well, it just helped. We always pray first because.
Or even when we're stuck, like, which is crazy. Like if we're like stuck and we're in like a weird spot, we're like, all right, let's pray. And it's crazy how
you start getting stressed, like you've been on something for a long time, or you're not finding it. It's like, okay, shouldn't be striving.
I need to find the right snare drum though.
Yeah, like let's just maybe we'll get a download of like where we should go, the direction.
Yeah, I'd say it's always pretty fun though, and we got lots of videos. I can send you some just videos of us in the studio too.
Yeah, I was just looking at one with Yacht Money. He's on it was on your Instagram.
Boat?
He's on you guys are like writing music on a boat, and like,
oh yeah, that's their boat. Yes.
Their boat studio.
Yeah, so we wrote. Okay, so we wrote on the new album. We wrote "Go and Get It" on the boat. We wrote "Sunshine" on the boat. We wrote we wrote one more. We wrote 3 on the boat. Anyways, and then so like that's great. It's like this little boat in Nashville. You get on there and what is it?
Car's Wide Open. No.
Yeah. But the song the album taps into a lot of things, like the song we did with Memba, Danger. That's like about the pharmaceutical world. We like talk about that. We talk about like some other ones. We kind of like Freak of Nature is more just like basically about you being like this. You're a farmer. You're like a raver. You're like a mom. You like get on stage and like just rock crowds, like, so like you're sort of like, and you're like, and you love God. It's like all of this doesn't make sense. That's kind of what Freak of Nature is about. Sunshine we wrote actually for our kids. We wanted to write.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So we wrote that. We wanted to write a little song for our boys, just to be like, so this will have something that we wrote for them for the rest of their lives. They can always go back and listen to. This is when my mom and dad were when they were rapping when they were kids. Go and Get It. It's just like super, and it's kind of like a reminder for you, like super inspiring, like when you want something bad enough, like just go get it. We're always trying to inspire the kids out there,
Sour, I like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, not just to go and get it though, to receive. So that
to receive. Yeah. Sour Patch Kids. What is that one? What is that really about? It's just like,
to think about the lyrics.
Y'all might have heard it like this, but not like this. Sour Patch Kids with
just being our.
Yeah, that's like a little like hype up. That's like us. For the Sour Patch Kids.
Kooky selves.
I'm trying to think of any other.
Yeah, it's sort of your like anthem, right?
Yeah, it's like our little anthem.
We do it like this.
Yeah.
Well, did we write that after that one guy told us what we were like?
Well, Solly told us.
No. The guy at the festival.
What did he say?
There was a guy. He was like, I heard you guys. I was like camped behind the Thunder stage, and I like heard you guys, and I was like, I had to go see what this was. And he like came from like his sleep, and he was like, I was just like, what is this? It's like, what do you say?
He's like, it was like hard, like rap, but then it was like dorky, like nerdy. And then it was like, nerdy. And then I was like, and he took me to some other dimension. Then I started crying because of the emotions.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of us.
It's like, literally, that's kind of what it is. It's like really like dorky moments, super like hard moments, then like heart opening, crying emotions, or relationships.
Especially when you try to do that stage dance.
Oh, the Wall of Life. Yeah.
Oh, one of our dancing. I hate it.
That's kind of stage. We're two Geminis too, by the way. So we got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So we got lots of sides.
I have a hard time with anything planned. So if you want to do something planned, I'm like, it's just. But I mean, it's been great.
Well, that was an epic view inside the world of Elephant Heart. Thank you guys for sharing. You
Thank
guys
you for
are
having us.
so creative and so interesting and inspiring. And I love how authentic and true to you are. And like that, I think is a lesson for us all to just continue to like dive deeper inside of ourselves to look for like what really fills us up and what gives us joy. And then to just share that with the world. And I think you guys are like a shining bright light in the world for us all to remind ourselves of that.
Man,
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I feel the same about you. I remember the first time I met
Thank
you, I
you,
was like, I
man.
like that guy a lot, man.
Yeah,
So-
thank you.
Yeah.
All
so,
right. Well, we'll all celebrate Kingdom on October 24th. Tap in on Elephant Heart. Check out their music videos. Check out all their Instagram, all the beautiful things they're sharing. And any last words for you guys? Anything else you want to share?
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm pumped up.
All right, guys.
Thanks for waiting.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for waiting so long for the next album.
Yeah, that's
All
what I gotta
right.
say.
Thanks, brother.
All right, guys. Lots of love.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.